Hello, Anthony Gitch here with Excel Hypnosis and another Insights with Anthony. Today I'm going to share with you some more interesting information about your mind and your thoughts. I'm going to continue to build on what we discussed last week, and I'm going to continue even more next week. But if you remember, we talked about the difference between the mind and the brain. We talked about how the mind uses the brain to complete its functions and to collect sensory data. I also mentioned that you are not your mind and that you need to become the observer of the mind in order to have ultimate command over it. You see, you lose power over the mind when you start to allow it to direct your thoughts and actions. Once you give your mind the power to run things, you no longer have control over your life. You've become the passenger in a car that you should be the one driving. Now, in order to retake control, you must learn to quiet the mind and stop experiencing life through it and start to experience it through the eyes of your observer. By doing so, you're no longer personalizing the outer world or what is happening to you. And when you stop doing that, you're better able to see the reality of things. Objectivity sets in and provides you with a sense of empowerment because it's easier for you to find solutions to the challenges that you're faced with, both big and small. And remember I said that the mind is not the brain. And well, if the mind is not the brain, if it is not aware, if it is not intelligent, and if you are not the mind, then what is it? Or a bigger question, what is its function? When you look at the function of the mind, you first notice, like I said before, that it is always driving us to do things. It is in constant movement, which causes conflict, and that in turn propels choice, and that creates more movement, and round we go until we learn to reclaim control. The basic underlying function of the mind is to be an instrument used by your awareness to understand the physical or outer world as well as the internal or emotional world, to make sense of it all, or rather to correlate all of the input into meanings that our consciousness can understand and use. Intelligence. This is where things get a little trippy, because I'm going to talk about awareness for a moment. And when I talk about awareness, I'm speaking about the eternal self. You see, awareness is not bound to time or space. It has no form or function, and it has no regard for good, bad, right, or wrong, and awareness does not bring about consciousness, nor does consciousness bring about awareness. Like the mind and the brain, the two are tied together, but they are not of each other. Consciousness uses awareness like the mind uses the brain. Let me explain it in this way. A comatose person upon waking will often say that they were aware of everything that was going on around them, though never showing any signs of consciousness. And a conscious person can remain in a debilitative state of unawareness for years, seemingly trapped in an internal world. Consciousness without awareness is as useless as awareness without consciousness. There is no decreeable level of intelligence in either one of them alone, which means that until consciousness and awareness are teamed up, you really do lack true intelligence. What does all of that mean? It means that you must understand and master how your mind is using the information gathered by your senses, and in so doing, you gain control of your mind, and you're able to make conscious choices rather than simply react. It means that when your heart and your mind are congruent in the choices you make, you're using all of your intelligence. You must learn to manage your mind in order to get what it is that you want. If you allow your mind to constantly focus on negative thoughts, then you're doomed to live in a negative world with very few joyful experiences. The world of resistance. The goal here is to actually get to the point where you no longer have to manage negative thoughts because they no longer are what the mind gives energy to. Not saying that bad stuff won't happen, but once resolved, it won't be swimming around in your head for hours, days, weeks, or even years later. Now next week, I'm going to continue this conversation, and I'm going to tell you about how your mind creates frameworks. And I'm going to talk about cognitive fusion as well as cognitive diffusion. Remember, your mind is amazing. Now make sure that you're using it instead of it using you. I hope that shines a bit of light about how to get a little bit more from life. If you want some easy to use EFT or tapping tools or some breathing techniques to help in a moment of unbalance, visit the resources page at excelhypnosis.com and you're going to find several videos with different techniques. One of them is sure to work for you. Thanks for watching. My name is Anthony Gitch for Excel Hypnosis, and I'll turn the light on for you.